European leaders have pledged support for an initiative from Brussels to find a vaccine for COVID-19. A new fund aims to raise 7.5 billion euros, or about $8.1 billion. The money will be used to encourage global cooperation between scientists, governments and healthcare professionals. Now, for more, we're joined by John Lam, UK Ambassador to ASEAN. Good evening, Ambassador. So the United Kingdom has pledged $480 million. Tell us, how will this money be spent?
Thank you, Glenda. Well, as you were saying, this is a global fund to address what's really a global challenge. If we want to tackle COVID, we have to work together, and we need tests, treatments and vaccines to do that. So the pledging event on Monday of this week, which the UK co-hosted, was gathering together the funds that would do exactly that. So the money that we've put forward is aimed at finding these effective medicines and also supporting the World Health Organization in its work.
And why is it so critical then to pull these together efforts and expertise at this point?
Well, I think the way we see it in the UK is that this is just a global challenge. We won't be able to succeed in tackling coronavirus unless we all work together. Our Prime Minister has said this is the challenge of our lifetimes, and that's how it feels to us. The other thing is that unless we are able to help every country, every person in every country around the world get access to these treatments, we won't have won the fight against coronavirus. Because even if we tackled it in the UK or in Singapore or in any other country, if it still lingers on elsewhere, it could come back. So that's why we're working together. We're trying to mobilize global and international efforts so that all together we can overcome these challenges and we can recover.
Well, indeed, it is a global challenge, but what do you hope to see come out of this global partnership then?
Well, there are two things. So this pledging event that we held earlier this week was very much about finding these treatments, these vaccines, making sure that the science, the medical science and the pharmaceutical companies are working together to really create these things in the first place. But the second part of the challenge is then making sure that everyone all around the world has access to them. And that for the UK is really a crucial step, and one that we take very seriously. So we'll be hosting another virtual summit on the 4th of June, which will be aimed at galvanizing roughly the same amounts of money, which will be all about getting those treatments and vaccines, once they're discovered, all around the world. And we've pledged already £1.65 billion to that over the next 5 years. And we're working with all of our international partners to make sure that we have a similar amount of money ready to go, so that when these vaccines are created, everyone can access them.
Yeah, so elaborate more on that if you could. Even when a vaccine is found, a major challenge will be making sure that it does get to poorer countries. So how can equitable access be ensured?
Well, you're absolutely right, Steve. We're doing a few things in the UK. So we already have a partnership between the University of Oxford, which is one of the leading groups of scientists who are looking for a vaccine. They've already entered into a partnership with AstraZeneca, supported by the UK government, to make sure that we have the manufacturing capability in place in advance. So that's the kind of thing we'll need to do to make sure we can move through the vaccine development and production process really quickly. But then we need to work together through the World Health Organization, through these kinds of pledging events, using our development arms to make sure that all over the world, in Southeast Asia, in Africa, in Latin America, everyone can get access to these vaccines so that we can have a kind of global immunity to this virus.
Well, thank you very much for your time this evening. John Lam, Britain's ambassador to ASEAN.